Hello. So we're continuing to explore the story of Joseph together. And here we are starting at Genesis 40. And it's Genesis 40, verses 1 to the first part of chapter 4. And really, not a lot happens in these verses. It says this: Sometime later, the cupbearer and the baker of the king of Egypt offended their master, the king of Egypt. Pharaoh was angry with his two officials, the chief cupbearer and the chief baker, and put them in custody in the house of the captain of the guard, in the same prison where Joseph was confined. The captain of the guard assigned them to Joseph, and he attended them. Short passage. Not a lot happens. And actually, we have times like this in our lives where not a lot changes. Or does it? This chapter starts with three words. Three words which, man, I think we can just skip over. Some time later. We aren't told how much time. Just think what those three words mean for Joseph. He is still in prison, held unjustly. Yes, God is still with him. And God's favor has now meant that Joseph has purpose and responsibility in the place that he's being held captive against his will for something he didn't do. Surely one day of that is too many days. But here Joseph is still serving away, still being obedient where he is amidst the injustice in a grim and dark place. And all we get is some time later. You might be in a sometime later season right now where your situation isn't changing. You're not seeing the breakthroughs you'd like to see. You're not seeing the wrongs righted, and you're not seeing things change. Do you know that in that season that you're in, that sometime later, God is still with you? Are you still leaning on Him daily? Are you still serving Him daily? Are you still following Him, even if your circumstances might not be changing right now? I take great heart from Joseph that he did. And if he did in his dank, dark prison where he's held unjustly, then I can too. So, time passes when two people, the cupbearer and the baker, offend the king. We're not told how. We're not told if the king is right to be offended or not. The king was angry at them, he was upset with them, and so they end up in prison with Joseph. That's it. I've no idea if they were rightly or wrongly accused. However, in my personal modern eyes, simply having offended the king is certainly not prison worthy. But this is Egypt of old. Egypt, where Pharaoh is seen as a god, and to offend God meant prison. And so Joseph has two more people to be responsible for amidst his time of unjust captivity. And we're told Joseph attended them. Did Joseph attend them because they were special? No. Joseph attended them and served them because they were in prison where he was made responsible. He attended them in the way that he knew, in God's way, a way of serving them, because that's how God loves, by serving. Did Joseph know at this point that these two people would be pivotal in the future for his freedom? No. At this point in time, who they were and where they came from did not matter. All that mattered is that they were in Joseph's circle of responsibility, his sphere of influence. And he continued to serve them and do right by them, regardless of his circumstances and regardless of their circumstances. Who's in your sphere of influence right now? There might be a grander purpose for these people in your life, but there might not be. Should any of that change how we respond to the people around us in life? The people we have in our lives are not pawns for the betterment of our lives. The people around us are all a gift, who are there to be loved and served with the love of Christ, no matter what season we're in, and no matter what season they're in. All that is required is for us to love like Christ. Will we?